assessment centers, which are the most critical part of the process. You can put your heart and soul into an application and fail at the final hurdle. I did one of the highest paying commercial graduate schemes. So, how to win assessment centers. Here was the key difference.
I want you guys to give a huge, massive round of applause for Jack and Adam, who are massive, amazing, value-add guys. Thank you very much. There you go.
Thank you very much. After you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for inviting us here today. My name is Jack. This is Adam. Now, before I do introductions, I want to ask you one really simple question, and then we'll jump in. So, if I could distill to you over 10 years of experience from going to several assessment centers, writing assessment centers, assessing people in those assessment centers, and how to get a six-figure job in less than 30 minutes, would that be worth your time? If you think yes, just give me a quick show of hands. All right, cool. Looks like we're in the right room then. So now I'm going to pass you over to Adam. He's going to do an intro and give you some stuff that is going to absolutely help you nail assessment centers.
All right, amazing. Thank you, Jack. Hey, I am so excited to speak today because Vahoon has given us the pleasure of talking through assessment centers, which are the most critical part of the process. You can put your heart and soul into an application and fail at the final hurdle. And the bad news is, it's the hardest part of the process. But the good news is, it's a game. If you know how to play the game, and every game has winners and losers, and I think we're in a room full of winners, and we are going to give you the strategies to kick ass at your next assessment center. So why should you listen to Jack and myself? I did one of the highest paying commercial graduate schemes on the country, and I was earning six figures working fully remote for one of the largest energy companies in the world. So how to win assessment centers. A question to everyone here. Who has been to an assessment center? Who has actually been to an assessment center? Raise of hands. Okay, final question. Who would like to learn how to kick ass at your next assessment center? Raise of hand. Okay, everyone, we're in the right room. Let's get into it. So I'm going to take you through a roadmap, a literal step-by-step guide to kicking ass at your next assessment center. Next slide. Individual exercises. So my journey started applying for graduate schemes in September, and I got invited to an assessment day in December for Coca Cola in Uxbridge, London. Now, I was living in Sheffield at the time. This is my first lesson. Write this down. I paid £100 to get a hotel the night before so I could avoid a 3-hour commute. Now, I thought £100 was a small investment to make to secure myself a job at Coca Cola, which was paying 30K plus a 3K join-in plus the rest. Now, this applies with everything. The clothes you wear, the nice suit you rock up with, the accommodation, your resources, your education. If you spent £1,000 to get yourself a job, to secure yourself a job at Coca Cola, that would be a small price to pay. Now, Coca Cola was so intense. They threw everything at you. Intray exercises, group exercises, presentation, the works. And there was 14 other candidates that we were competing against. I crushed it. I dominated it. I got a phone call the next day. And they said, Adam, so good to meet you. Thank you for coming out. We have bad news. We cannot give you an offer because you failed the individual exercise. So the individual exercise is an in-tray exercise. You're going to get loads of emails, 20 to 30, and you just have to prioritize an answer. The kind of questions you're going to get are, hey, I'm a customer. I've got a problem. Please help. The second email might be, hey, Adam, excited for the Christmas party. Let's do loads of shots together. It's your job to prioritize and answer them. Obviously, Christmas party comes first, the customer query can wait. So it's your job to prioritize the emails as they come in on the intro exercise. The problem I faced was literally, I just hadn't experienced this intro exercise before because I didn't prepare. So here's my second piece of advice. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. When you're at an assessment center, you're doing an individual exercise, you've got a grad scheme application in front of you, make sure you've done the preparation. There is an abundance of free and paid resources out there. It's not hard to find. Every single one of them has a mark scheme. Ingrain that in your brain so when you're doing the intro exercise, you have the mark scheme in your mind and you're just writing away on autopilot. All right, failure. Let's go to the next assessment day. It's February. I'm going to now Unilever. I've been applying for jobs for 6 months. We're at Unilever in Leatherhead. They have free Ben & Jerry's right at the back. So for the sake of Ben & Jerry's, I'm going to put my all into this application. So this was very low key compared to Coca Cola. 3 other individuals in the office, 2 group exercises, 1 interview. Now, group exercises. Next slide, please, Jack. Group exercises. I'll come to this. In a group exercise, you're going to be led into a room after you've been briefed, sit down with the other people in the group, and they are going to be silent. It's up to one of you to start the task, and you can literally write this down and play this back word for word. Start by doing this in a group exercise. You've got the brief. Sit down and say, hey, before we get into it, there's two things we should do. One is keep track of the time. It would be so easy to overrun. So at regular intervals, would someone mind giving us a heads up? And two, the reason I say 2 points so no one interrupts me, it's 2 points. Let's write objectives down on the board. Let's actually refer back to later whether we achieved what we set out to do. Grab that pen, get on the board and start writing down. I crushed this, I killed it. I thought I had an offer. Got a call the next day. Adam, thank you so much for coming out. It's amazing to see you, but we have bad news. Unfortunately, you didn't pass our group exercise and we can't give you an offer. Okay, darkest hour, no grad scheme, we're now in March. I need to get this final chance of an assessment center. BP, they paid a monstrous amount. My dream job, I needed to get this. Final chance to get an offer. BP, amazing job, dream job. This was one individual exercise, 2 group exercises. Individual exercise, rocked up, kicked ass, done all the preparation, forget about it, done, killed it. Group exercise, we come in, everyone is there. I started as I always do. 2 things, let's keep track of the time, let's write our objectives down on the board. Here was the key difference. Write this down, by the way. This is the key difference. When I wrote the objectives down, I turned to everyone in the group and said, hey, has anyone got any suggestions to write on the board? Clemmy jumped up and said, I think we should write X down. Clemmy, that's an amazing suggestion. Would you like to write that down? She writes it on the board. We've got all our objectives, and now I'm back then going through the analytics. Within 5 minutes in that group exercise at BP, I've shown initiative. I started the exercise. I've shown time management, keep tracking the time. I've shown leadership by bringing people into the conversation, delegating, seeing the objectives, project management. I've sat down and I've showed analytics. Within 5 minutes, the assessor couldn't write quick enough. They are marking off every single thing they need in a group exercise. If I'm honest, that is literally the play-by-play of a perfect 5-minute group exercise. Got a call the next day. Adam, thank you so much for coming out. You did amazing, but we have bad news. You're gonna have to find accommodation in Milton Keynes because we'd love to give you an offer. Fuck yes. Finally got my offer. But this is the best thing, and this is the final piece of advice that I'm going to give you before I hand over to wonderful Jack Roberts. Not only did I get an offer, Jai there, our international hustler at BP, also got an offer, and she was there in the group exercise, as well as Clemmy, who we swapped over. Write this on the board. 3 out of the 7 people at BP got an offer at my assessment center. We worked together for 8 years after that. Every single person in this room can get an assessment center, get a grad job, get a graduate scheme. There is no shortage of success in the world. There's plenty of room at the top. You're all here to lift each other up. Okay, that's how I got my offer. Jack now is going to take you through step-by-step tips on actually how to crush an assessment center and give you an action plan.
Beautiful. Wow, Adam. I want to apply to grad scheme now. I've already done it a few years ago. So what the hell is a big finger looking on the screen, pointing at you? Believe it or not, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is when you go to an assessment center, when you go to an interview, they really want to give you the job because it is a pain in the ass, quite frankly, hiring. No one likes doing it. It takes time. If you've actually gotten the interview, they want to give the job. They literally want you to win. So you don't have to try and convince people, walking there assuming, hey, they want you to succeed. They're not trying to catch you up. Go in that mindset, it makes a huge difference. How on earth do they choose who to hire and who not to hire? Why did Adam get 2 no's and then a yes from the 3rd time? Well, some say they play No Limit Texas Hold'em, they do arm wrestle for it. Lots of crazy stuff happens in assessment centers. The way that it works is you can do a couple of different exercises, okay? You're not going to get full exposure to every single individual. It's important to bear that in mind. Now, you're going to get an actual number. You're going to get a score. You're going to get a score on the interview. You can get a score on the team exercise, and you're going to get a score on your individual exercise. But if you score really high and they think you're a douchebag, you're not going to get the job. That's the bottom line of it. You need to be likable. You need to be somebody who they really want to work with. So yes, there's numbers, but they don't always translate into offers. Just bear that in mind. Now, be known. What do I mean by that? This is probably going to be one of the most unconventional pieces of advice that you're going to get, but I really think it's important. Now, I told you earlier that not everybody's going to see you, right? Your job is to be remembered, all right? So let's say, for example, I would turn up to your interview, I would turn up to your assessment center with 2 or 3 little quippy jokes. Maybe you say something like, dude, on the way down here yesterday, I had these beautiful white jeans, and they are crisp white jeans, let me tell you. I was walking down, someone had coffee, spilled it on me, and I got completely humiliated, and the girl I like called me coffee boy. Something funny, some kind of funny little quip that you come up with, okay? And bring that up in conversation. Sometimes it isn't always the big, massive stories, it's the small talk, it's being remembered. If you don't know the answer, be honest about it. Like, let's be fair about this. You've not done a huge job before. They don't expect you to run BP or British Gas or something. If you don't know an answer, it's perfectly fine to say, hey, I don't know that answer. But obviously, you want to think about, when you're giving answers to things, how you're actually thinking about the problem. Some of the feedback I got when I did my assessment center, and I saw this a lot when I was recruiting for assessment centers, is say, look, the way that I would think about that problem is, and then sometimes it's not about the actual answer, because what we're really looking for is how you think. We're looking for little, oh, he really showed that skill set at McDonald's. You don't need to work at like some insane company to get a grad scheme. We want to see potential that you've got. Now, time for some cheat codes. So we do AI, we do automations. I'm going to give you the 411, the real quick explanation of how you can use AI to crush it, get jobs, and smash assessment centers. If you're not using AI to get jobs, get better jobs, and crush it, you are way behind. You need to be going on to ChatGPT. You need to be going on to Claude. You need to be giving it your CV, your experiences. You need to be giving it the actual requirements from all of these companies. And what values are they asking? You can find online now the kinds of questions that they ask in assessment centers. This stuff is broadly known by many people. And you need to be practicing on interviews with ChatGPT and Claude. You can download the ChatGPT app, you can have real-time conversations and ask it to ask as an assessor for you and sharpen your skills. Assessment centers are a skill. It's also part luck. You can give the perfect performance, but you may not get it. Now, the second you leave an assessment center, my best piece of advice for you is simply this: assume you haven't got it. Forget about it, it's gone, it's over, on to the next one. That is the absolute best mental tool you can have when you finish any interview, any assessment center. Pay it no mind. Thinking about it will not increase your chances of getting a job. It's gone, it's dead to you. So you need to be using AI to smash it.
You only fail if you stop learning and pivoting and growing.
I will be very honest. I have no idea what assessment centers are. Maybe I haven't made it past the interview that far, or maybe the companies I've applied to. So I just wanted to ask, is assessment centers like something big companies do, or is like just later stage that I've not encountered yet?
I love that. So maybe a question to you. Where are you currently? You're a student. What do you do? And what are you going to be applying for?
I'm a recent graduate. I am applying for entry-level roles for bioscience. So I'm a biotech graduate where I can get my hands dirty. And yeah, I've been applying for big companies like GSK and even small startup companies that I've met in conference events.
GSK, I got invited to. They will 1,000,000% have an assessment day. I didn't turn up because I had BP. So you will 1,000,000% have to do an assessment day. What is an assessment day? Maybe I talk you through the recruitment process. It's about 5 different steps. Application online, which I imagine you've done. Basically your CV in questions broken down. An interview. Is this guy cool? Does he, verify his CV? Maybe a technical interview. I had that at BP. Then the final stage is an assessment day. What is it? It's like an apprentice-style escape room. You're all put in a room, there's like 8 of you, and you've got a bunch of tasks to do. There's gonna be 3 tasks: individual exercise, group exercise, and an interview. Maybe an interview. They all vary. Coca Cola was 14 candidates, BP was 7, Unilever was 3, but they basically follow that format. And they will have a mark scheme, what they're looking for. So they're looking for leadership. Look is when opportunity meets preparation. Your homework, preparation.
Sounds fun. Thank you.
You need to prepare well. Do you have any recommendations for any resources that are available on the internet that we guys can just use for preparation?
I love that question. Who's going to love us? I'm sure the international hustlers will take care of you. So I'm sure they've got loads of paid resources, free resources. So if I'm honest, the best place is probably Fahoon's school community. What I used, there was assessment day and maybe, I can't remember if it's called Gradvance. Literally just type in assessment day preparation. There were like 30 quid for the year and there was just all free resources. But Fahoon's going to love us. Go to International Hustlers, join his community. He'll have all the resources you need.
I know, just last thing, if you have got questions, we'll be around. So feel free to come reach us after the session and we're happy to answer any questions you got. All right, I think back over to Fahoon then.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.